Today is the day. Bill C-9 is officially the law of the land in Canada. We now have thought police in this country. Fomentation of detestation and vilification can now land you in prison for life. That is correct. If you post something that the government of Canada deems to be fomenting detestation, dictionary definition, intense dislike, you can now be jailed for life. Lifetime imprisonment. We are now living in a country with a so-called Digital Safety Commission. Even Orwell couldn't think this thing up. A Digital Safety Commission featuring between 3 and 5 unelected bureaucrats who have the ability to imprison you, put you under house arrest, or confiscate your weapons if another Canadian citizen complains not even about something that you've posted, but if they believe you are likely to say something hateful in the future. I kid you not. Look at the text of Bill C-9. This is a much more extreme version of the so-called Online Safety Act that's been passed in the UK, where they are arresting approximately 12,000 people a year for speech laws. The one good thing that comes of this is you know you're close to the target when a country starts passing laws like this. If we weren't effective in calling out what is becoming more clearly every single day a communist government that wants to destroy Canada, they would not be passing bills like that. They see that we are being effective. Those who are pointing out the insane open borders policies, 8 million people in the country in the past decade, 577,000 people in the country illegally, violent crimes with gun usage since the Liberal Party of Canada came to power, up 116% in just a decade. Extortions up 357% in that same time. Crimes against women up 78% across the board since the Liberal Party of Canada opened the borders up. Crimes are up catastrophically. The government knows that more and more Canadians are waking up to what's going on. You look at what Carney's doing economically now. We're splitting 50-50, all revenues generated from the Gordie Howe Bridge. After he had promised Canadians would be getting 100% of those revenues, we footed the entire bill. CUSMA negotiations are an absolute disaster. Canada not even sending representatives to these negotiations when it is literally Canada's economic future, millions of jobs on the line. Mark Carney in under a year has plunged us into a recession. If CUSMA doesn't wind up getting renegotiated successfully, that recession is going to quickly turn into a depression. So Canadians are waking up to what's going on, that we are being demographically replaced, that Mark Carney, whoever he's working on behalf of, the WF, Davos, Brookfield Asset Management, he certainly does not have the best economic interest of the Canadian people in mind through these negotiations. It's difficult to believe that the man is not, it's difficult to believe that the man is not even sending representatives to these CUSMA negotiations. So what's the government doing? They are passing speech laws. This is the sign of a scared government. I can tell there's going to be some high profile arrests made early on. They're going to say that they're hate speakers. Of course, when they say hate speech, they're just talking about speech that they hate. We know that no left-wingers will be arrested. They'll purely go after people who point out the insanity of our open borders policy, the insanity of spending $11 billion over the past decade on DEI and gender studies overseas, the insanity of spending $26.5 billion in the Ukraine when 2.2 million Canadians are using food banks every year. We are now, I can say safely, Bill C-9 is the final nail in the coffin. We are no longer a country that has free speech. That's why I founded the Fight for Canada Party, the 4 pillars of the party: total moratorium on immigration, shut down the TFW and the IMP, and the deportation of the 577,000 people who are in the country illegally. That number is going to explode to over 3 million people in the next decade. If you'd like to support the founding of FFC, I so appreciate it. You can hit the Stripe link below. Do not be scared. That's what they want you to do. One of the most nefarious things about a bill like Bill C-9 is that many people will not speak their mind, will not say what they actually feel, will not say what they see going on in this country every single day. The demographic replacement is so obvious. Unless you're blind, you see it every day in this country. What they're trying to do is get Canadians to shut up about it. That's one of the most effective measures with these so-called speech bills, is that people self-censor. They have families, they have people that they have to support, so they can't afford to take the risk of all of a sudden CSIS knocking on their door. do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Courage always pays off in times like these. This is the equivalent of the Bolsheviks coming to power. Look at the way that they treated the kulaks, the way that they eliminated hundreds of thousands of people. We're seeing that exact same in a slightly different manner, in a more sophisticated manner. We're seeing that in Canada. 100,000, we're closing in on dead through MAID. When people say the government isn't killing people, well, 100,000 people have been eliminated through MAID, and it just so happens 96% of those who have offed themselves from MAID are white. If you think that's a coincidence, I have a bridge to sell you. C22 is also the law of the land now, which forces every single Canadian tech company to break encryption so that the government or nefarious actors can get in and access your messages. Tech companies across the board, Meta, Apple, talking about what a disaster this is. They've never had a government ask them to do this before. Truly unprecedented times in Canada. Also forcing all tech companies to save your metadata for a year. Metadata allows the government to know essentially everything about your daily life, all information outside the exact context of the text that you sent. So your metadata is now being saved for 12 months. That's mandated to all tech companies, as well as encryption being broken, which means not only can the government access your messages, but nefarious third parties too. You can't open up a backdoor that only the government can access. But the most malevolent of all in this Bill C9 is just the threat, the worry that if Canadians speak their mind on immigration, if Canadians say something that is not in line with what the government wants you to believe, you can now be arrested. Let us not forget the fundamental pillar of Western civilization. We are living in a historical anomaly. You have not been normally able to speak out against the government, to speak out against power. We are living in a unique time in the West right now, and the haters of the West want to destroy that. Communists never want a free and open debate. They know that in the real marketplace of ideas, when you actually look throughout history, there's been no larger a killer than the communist ideology. All you hear about is fascism from them in the 20th century, but 20th century, the communists, the Bolsheviks, killed about 3.5 times more than any fascist movement did. They won't tell you that in school, but it's the truth. It's simply the truth. They don't want open and honest debate, which is the pillar of a free society. And let me also remind the governments of Canada, they work for them, we don't work for, they work for us, we don't work for them. And free speech exists for people who are saying the unpopular thing in the modern day. Free speech is not just, we all understand modern day Canada, particularly among women, you're about 99.9% liberal. Free speech exists for the people who are saying the unpopular thing, not the popular thing. The government is trying to muzzle you, trying to stop you from speaking your mind, speaking your conscience. It's disgusting. It's anti-Western. I think Bill C9 might be the worst bill I've ever seen, and that's saying something considering this disastrous Liberal Party of Canada. I'm going to be live YouTube tomorrow night at 7, further discussing the implications of Bill C9 officially being the law of the land. As I said, if you'd like to support FFC, you can hit the Stripe link. Make sure you subscribe to the Substack. And they want you afraid, they want you nervous, they want you closing your mouth. So don't do any of the things that creepy Carney and his Marxist buddies are insisting on.